Okay, so this is day 16, I think, of watching every movie on IMDb's top 250 list. Today was Goodfellas. Um, I mean, what a movie. Wheels were turning, wheels were composed for a while, and then they started turning, and then everything went to crap, right? Everything went to hell. Now, movie started off pretty simple, really. The kid, for whatever reason, always, well, for obvious reasons, but always wanted to be a gangster. He lived across the street from a restaurant that, had gangsters in it, and he knew about it, and he was helping them. He got a job there, told his mother he got a job there across the street from his house. So it's not nothing crazy. And obviously at the time, mom doesn't know anything, but he knows he's doing little jobs here and there. Nothing crazy. He's just delivering money. I think he was holding an umbrella for the top guy at one point, so rain doesn't get on him. He was, like I said, delivering stuff, just learning small stuff here and there, just to understand how to make money, because he felt like those guys had the respect they earned, I guess, right? It got to a point that he was so well known around the neighborhood that people started respecting him. And he wasn't even the top guy. People were carrying his mother's groceries. People didn't even park in front of his house because he was associated with those gangsters. And this is the Italian, I want to say mob, but I don't think it was ever considered a mob. I don't think it's a mob. It's Italian gangsters in the in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. That was what they were. And basically, everything was going well, right? Obviously, has a wife, kids, and then he starts biting more than he can chew. It all went to hell when he started dealing drugs. He started selling drugs. Now, originally, what they were doing was they were stealing stuff. They had like this whole like operation where they had somebody in the airport that would tell them when certain shipments were coming in from the planes, and they would steal some stuff from there. They would disguise it and make it seem like somebody else stole it, but obviously it was them. They had like family members in different businesses. Basically, they had like people dealing with trucks, obviously people in airports, people in ports with boats, right? They had people everywhere, basically family members per se, that were working there, and just people they just knew, just in general. They would pay him, obviously they'll pay him a little something here. Thanks for letting me know this, that, and the third is happening. We'll take care of the rest, right? And it was a continuation thing. It was happening constantly. And an example they showed is there was this guy that was driving this truck, and the guy parked in a restaurant. Basically, it was a truck parked in a restaurant. Went inside to grab some food, in quotation mark. He was also part of it, and they stole the truck. And then he started, he made it crazy. He said, "Yo, it was two, this, that, and the third that stole the truck. I'm gonna call the cops right now." Obviously there's a phone in the restaurant. Calls them again. This is like the early 90s. It was like the payphone that was just there. You throw a couple coins in and type in a number and a call. That was the way they were doing. That was the business back then, and it was pretty simple. It was working. They were making a buttload of money. Didn't hurt anybody. They didn't have to shoot anybody. They probably put a gun to somebody's head here and there, but never excessive per se, right? So now the main character, his name is Henry, which is the kid from before. Now he's, well, at the time he was, I want to say like 22, 23, 24 maybe, early 20s, maybe late 20s, one of the two. So he bites off more than he can chew, like I said before. So he goes to jail, right? And does 10 years. They make the 10 years seem like, so basically I would say he's 31 at the time then. There you go. Does 10 years just like that, by the way. They made it seem so like it was nothing. But anyways, while he's in jail, they're living a good life because obviously they have money. I'm not trolling, they're separated from the other guys in jail. Like they had their own little, spot. I don't even think it was in the jail. It was their own little spot. They could do everything they wanted. They were smuggling food in for themselves. They were cooking this whole meal, pasta, steak. They had bread, everything. And Henry, who's the main character, he was selling drugs in jail. He would have his wife would smuggle drugs and the food in the cell in the prison, so he would sell. And the main guy, whose name was Paul, was also in jail. He was doing 1 year at the time. He was also in jail. Now, after Henry does the 10 years, right? Paulie ends up pulling him aside, or Paul, sorry, ends up pulling him aside and telling him, stop the whole business. Stop it. Don't stop selling drugs completely. And evidently didn't stop. And he explained towards the end that he already was too deep into it. He couldn't stop. You know what I mean? Like, he was making so much money, there was no reason he could stop. Like, he didn't have it in it of himself to bring up to Paul that, oh, I'm selling like heavy stuff, I can't stop now. But like I said, Paul knew. Paul told him he knows. Stop selling it, because eventually it will come back and fall back on Paulie. On Paul. I keep calling him Paulie. On Paul, who is the main guy of the whole family gangster, whatever. So unfortunately, he was sniffing out of his own stash, basically. He was selling and he was sniffing out of his own stash. He had this flight attendant that was smuggling in the drugs, and then he obviously paid her. And then he had his other girlfriend. He had his wife, but he also had his other girlfriend cutting up the drugs, and she was also sniffing the same drugs also. So she had her own stash, sniff whenever she pleased. He had his girlfriend on the side cutting everything up, and then he would sell it. He had his other business partner, who's also another top guy in the gangster family, per se, the same family. He brought him in, and he was all in, and they were making a bunch of money. And eventually, unfortunately, everything goes to hell, because the FBI was all over them. They were wiretapping all their phones, this, that, and the third, for like a month or so, probably even more. And obviously they ended up getting caught. Bro, bad, by the way, bad. It got to a point Henry was sniffing. He was also sniffing about it. He was sniffing so much, like he was paranoid to that. It was to the point where he was just paranoid. He didn't know what he was seeing. He didn't know what he was not seeing. He was lost. But at the end of the day, he ended up snitching on everybody, took down the whole gangster operation. And then he went into witness protection, him and his wife. Eventually, him and his wife got divorced. They mentioned towards the end of 25 years. Who knows what happened to the kids. Paul obviously also was in jail. He died of some health condition. And James, who was also one of the top guys, had 20 to life and was supposed to get out, or he was up for parole in 2004. I don't know if it happened or not. You guys could go look it up. His name was James Conway. The main character was Henry Hill. Like this is like a real life thing. Like this movie based on real life. And then Paul something, I can't remember the main guy, but yeah, pretty good movie. Day 17. See you tomorrow.